Hello and welcome to the Media Bubble Podcast with your host Karol and Fredrik.
Yay!
Yay!
And today we're going to see. Let me try something else. And today we're going to see one of cinema's masterpieces, Citizen Kane. Okay.
I mean, correction, we've already seen the movie. We're just going to talk about it.
Actually, spoilers. I know that this is. I know that this was almost 8 years old, but might as well say it. There are going to be some plot points, and we're going to speak freely.
Yeah. I mean, given how I haven't seen the movie, and I wouldn't want to get it spoiled.
No.
If this is the first takeaway, or at least one takeaway from this episode, go see the movie. It's good.
Yeah, this is my second time actually of seeing it. I saw it once some couple of years ago, and I saw it in preparation for this episode. But before we actually start to talk about the film, I'm just going to quickly do some facts about the film. The film was released in 1941 and was the directorial debut of Orson Welles. He's the main actor of the film, so you have seen him.
Oh, so he's both the director and the star.
Yeah, he was Charles Foster Kane.
Okay.
And he came from theater work, and this was his first film at the age of 25, which is kind of impressive when you have something that's later been titled World's Greatest Film, and it's his first ever film.
Oof.
But so Citizen Kane didn't become this famous thing overnight. For an example, the year it released, it actually didn't win Best Picture. It lost to something called How Green Was My Valley. I've actually seen that film. I kind of liked it, but
Which one is better?
Citizen Kane.
Yeah, I guess you would rather see How Green Was My Valley if that one was better.
Yeah, it was an alright film. The legacy of Citizen Kane is that in every poll you ever see, for an example, Sight and Sound has voted this film #1 in 5 different editions, and Sight and Poll is like the biggest. It invites a lot of film critics, a lot of film directors to vote on its polls to kind of get a definition on the best film, and they do this every 10 years, and Citizen Kane have won 5 of those times.
Have they continued doing this poll? Has it?
Yes.
So when was the last time they did it? Do you maybe know?
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh.
The last film that won was some French film from like the 80s, 70s, if I remember correctly. I gotta be honest, the film that won last time, I had never heard of the film before. Suddenly I read Sight and Poll's new #1.
So it's not like the Oscars where it's usually the newer films or like Academy Awards. It's just any movie.
Yeah,
if
it's any
good.
movie of all time.
All right.
So this the legacy of this film has become being known as the best film ever made, and it has kind of jokingly been made sometimes. Like some people might say, oh, for example, a song, oh, this is the Citizen Kane of music, or Citizen Kane of that or that.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's like a saying. Just like you said. Like that was her or his or their Citizen Kane moment.
One thing that also didn't help its release was because this apparently you have seen the film. It's about a newspaper, and there actually was a newspaper man in the time that was kind of based on Kane, and so that man kind of tried to with everything in his might ruin the film when it came out.
I mean, it's kind of sad seeing that Kane has, like, the character of Kane is portrayed very positively as the further the movie goes.
I don't know, easy. I feel like the further it goes, it almost seems like, okay, I guess he is sympathetic in some way.
He's sympathetic. He's still a hurt, kind of grouchy, I'm gonna make my own way man, but I don't think he's an evil person.
Yeah, that's kind of the back scene that I want to tell. If you want to know more, I can show you. Sure, you can Google it, but I wanted to more discuss the film.
Okay.
So I guess we should start. Actually, the first time I watched this film, I was really surprised with the start of it. I was like, where? Like after that powerful scene with the rosebud, it suddenly goes to this news anchor segment for a while.
I did not expect it, to be honest.
No, I did not expect it to be going on that long either.
Well, I mean, at the first when we are introduced to who is Charles Foster Kane, we see this like a quick recollection of all of, was it his life or was it his dad? How like the empire that his dad has built, and Charles Foster was just this menace of a man that inherited it all and then quickly lost it all.
No, it wasn't his dad actually.
It was his dad that was very powerful.
That was not his dad. It was someone that his mother hired to take care of Kane.
Well, yeah.
And so, because you saw Kane's dad in another scene in the old house, but I actually had to read up on this because I did not fully understand it. But apparently, his mother's side found some big amount of gold, if I could understand it.
Yeah.
And she took that gold and put it in investments in Kane's future. And so she hired this man that Kane was going to live with and learn from.
So that was the case. Okay. Because I from what I got was that his mom sold the because they were supposed to move out. They would get a stipend after Kane moved out. So from what I got was that they sold the their homestead because there's a substantial amount of gold, but one of the agreements was that Kane would be taken care of by this banker.
Mm. And the banker was also put in to make investment in the money, so he would be even richer. Which the banker actually made a pretty good job, because he actually did make Kane richer for those years where he took care of him.
Exactly. His mom must have met one single good banker, I suppose.
Yeah, here's the thing is that I needed to Google, because I did not entirely understand the reason of how Kane suddenly got all this money when he was a poor child.
Yeah, like what's the reason? Like I don't suppose, like that his foster dad, like what's the correct term? Guardian, parental figure.
Mm.
Guardian. That he would just buy a boy.
It's a bit interesting, because from the banker's perspective, he gave Kane probably a good life and a good chance in life. And the first thing when Kane gets his fortune back is to take this newspaper and trying to write news that ruins his old guardian.
I mean, that only shows how much of an idealist Kane was. Because he came from nothing, and I think he realized that if not for this roll of dice, not for this chance that he got with his guardian, he would probably be in the same position like all the other people. Like, kind of maybe mistreated or unable to know what his rights are.
Actually, something that I just came to think about. Do you think this is the oldest film you have ever seen?
That might be, yeah.
1940. Have you even seen that many black and white films?
I keep forgetting it's black and white. Because
well, the
cinematography.
Yeah, that's quite good for the time. I actually tried to see some videos beforehand to see what made Citizen Kane stand out so much. And I did not find that many talking about the story. I found a lot of people talking about the
technology.
The cinematography that I apparently have a hard time pronouncing.
That's all right.
Apparently that was very groundbreaking from its time. That's a lot of videos I found talk about.
I mean, I would gladly like to talk about both of these parts because I like the sets. You could really see where his Kane's theater experience came in. There were just a lot of shots where it was just staged nicely. You could the background told a story, even before and later in the movie. But I also loved the story, how efficient it was to tell his whole life's work from multiple perspectives, and throughout it's 2 hour runtime, right?
Yeah, 2 hours.
Yeah, throughout 2 hour runtime, I never found myself bored.
There was one video that I found a bit interesting that talked about the 3 different levels of perspective. In a scene in the beginning of the film when the mother sells Kane off, you can say.
Yeah. Sends him away.
Yeah, there's like 3 different layers. There's the layer of the mother and the banker that is writing the documents for Kane's future. And then there's his dad that isn't completely sure about it, but still agrees on it because he will get money for it. And then there's a window open where you see a young Kane playing with his sled.
Yeah. It's so good. Like, not a moment is wasted.
Yeah.
But I think, are we getting ahead of ourselves? I see that you have more slides that maybe you wanna...
The slides doesn't really matter that much, actually. I've actually tried to make these slides look a bit like a kind of newspaper, not really, but somewhat inspired of it at least.
Yeah, it does seem like news headlines.
Rosebud, what's the meaning of his last words?
Did you figure it out?
Not the first time I watched this. Did you? Because I don't really... It's not that easy to find out, to think about.
I think I figured it out. I began because I was also thinking, what is Rosebud? It's apparently not Sophia. It's not any of his wives. It's not his son. It's not the newspaper. It's not his friend. So
it's not something that he rarely mentioned either.
Exactly. But I kept thinking, like, okay, if it's not for those things, what other meaningful, things in his lives were?
Yeah, what is something that Kane actually truly loved?
And it was... I'm sorry, I have a salty stick in my throat. This was a bad idea.
Karol decided to take some salty sticks to this recording, and apparently...
And it's now killing me. I'm gonna die.
Oh, what will Karol's last words be?
No. Save me.
You won't have this dramatic thing of Rosebud.
Rosebud. Just please Heimlich me.
Well, if I'm going through the story kind of quickly, Citizen Kane is about it's about the life of Charles Foster Kane, if you're going to be honest, but it's told in a way of, there's first a newsreel talking about the major events of Kane's life from kind of a news perspective, and then it goes to this room where a bunch of different newspaper men are discussing what's the meaning of the last word Charles Foster Kane ever spoke, Rosebud. So it becomes one of the newspaper's job to try to find out, and so it goes to he goes to some of the last people that knew Kane, like his old best friend, his second wife.
Yes, they also go through his. In the first act, we do get to see Kane's own description of what happened, since they got to his memoir in the bank.
Was that his memoir, or was it his banker parents' memoir?
I have no idea. I think it was...
Because I felt like that was more from his perspective.
I can't really say. Now I'm stumped, because I was betting it was Kane's, but it could be someone else's.
Because I think that was the banker's like trying to remember specific events in this film is interesting because it changes, but depending on the one that is interviewed, it goes through that person's memory with it, so the timeline is a bit here and there.
I still think the movie made a good job to make it still quite linear, because even though we get to see we got to see his life from the beginning to the end. Of course, we had the sensationalized newspaper article, description of that painted Kane like this awful loser who just played away his parents' or guardians' fortune, and that he lost everything. But then we do get more context with each thing. We have the bank notes that are written from Kane's perspective. Then we have his best friend who tells us about his time at the newspaper. And even though we were almost getting the second wife's story before the best friend, we still get that afterwards. She's introduced, so she doesn't come out of nowhere. But we do pan back to her, and we don't know what happens after Kane gets wrapped up in the scandal that led to the marriage between them.
Yeah. A political that kind of in some way that was a bit of a turning point in his life, because he was supposed to be elected for governor in New York, and his life was until that point like success after success after success, but that scandal kind of turned his life around.
I mean, we do also see that.
It also kind of, because no one truly liked Kane, you kind of get to understand as the film goes on.
You're kind of right. I think people... No, you know what? I think people...
Some might respect him.
I think people liked Kane, but I don't think people loved Kane.
Yeah, that's kind of more like it. There's no one that truly loved him. Which is the kind of ironic thing in this film, because that gets told a lot of the time, is that the thing that Kane wants the most is people to love him. He wants more people to love him, and that's kind of his problem. He wants so many people to love him that... This is a quote actually from his former best friend, I guess. That's all he ever wanted out of life was love. That's the tragedy of Charles Foster Kane. He just didn't have any to give.
Yeah. Because even when he was married with what's her face?
The first wife.
Because that seemed like a love story. In the beginning, they were all lovey-dovey. They liked each other. They met in Europe. They had a son. And because Kane was determined to make his newspaper work, he just put more time into it, and then he just left his wife to his own devices. That drove him a wedge. If not for Kane's, I mean, he's also so freakishly driven to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
He's so ambitious, and that's part of his downfall. Because if he could scale back and leave some time for his own family, who knows if he ever would meet Sophia? Who knows if Emily couldn't pull some strings behind thanks to her father, who was the president at the time. Hello, there's so many ways that his life could have been better if he could have just carved some little time for his loved ones.
I also find it a bit interesting in how different views of him are seen in this film, because in the first newsreel he's kind of shown to be this great American man, and I remember they did one small interview part where he played an older version of himself, and he was kind of supposed to be a little bit charming in that, and in the views of an audience that might be a bit charming for them, and then you see all this other different perspective of how people view him.
As you said, the newspaper. I mean, I think that newspaper kind of made him to look like a loser, like a fool.
That too. I guess it is a perspective on how you see him a lot of times.
And then his friend Legad was his friend.
Yeah,
not
well,
Legou, Legad.
Lassad was.
Yes, Lassad. So Lassad, when he was talking about Kane.
Before we just go on, I just remembered something that when that raid you mentioned and you mentioned the war, it just reminded me that this was actually released in 1941. The World War II was going on.
So even then, people knew how to be funny with satire.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin made a whole satire film before the Second World War started or in the Second World War, where he satired Hitler quite a bit.
I think I've seen clips of that.
Yeah, probably. But to your Lassard.
Yes. So we had newspaper that portrayed him as this awful loser who played away his father's legacy. Then we have Lassard, who shows him as to be a bit more driven, idealistic, fighting for the good of common man by bringing them information about what's happening, how they should be able to fight for their rights. Which also still plays it about how he wants to be loved by people. And then we have Sophia, who shows him that Kane really was... He didn't want to seem weak. He forced Sophia to sing just to show people, like, just not to lose face.
Yeah, that's kind of also a thing, is that after even if it wasn't good, the people didn't give it bad reviews. Actually, his own newspaper didn't even gave it bad reviews. Yeah. So, but even after then, he still is kind of the person that even in a downfall, he still goes through with it.
Yeah, like, it's still driven idealistic, but cruel. Like, his ambition to prove to people that Sophia can be an opera singer kind of almost freaking killed her. Like, she ended in a bed. Like, she ended very sick.
Yeah.
He basically forced her to sing.
Yeah, that marriage didn't end that well. Like, it's actually like quote from the last of her life with him. I see, so it's you.
It is being done
who is being done to. It's not me at all. Not how I feel. Not what it means to me.
Yeah, because he said, don't do this to me. Like, he doesn't realize that what he's doing to Sophia. Like, come on.
I get the last years of his life is kind of, I guess, the weak point, because it's like him, the life that he once had, where it was like he had potential of being loved with everyone. It's almost is gone now, and the only thing he really has is buying people's love with his money.
Exactly. I mean, he basically lived in an empty castle full of stuff. Like, even the castle, he rarely left. Like, he just secluded himself in his castle at his later age, which, now that I think about, like, I mean, first of all, it just screams like, yeah, big empty castle, lots of it, freaking empty. He cannot communicate with his wife face to face. They stand like 50 meters apart and they have to scream through the empty hallways. Fucking sucks. But also, it's like, am I the only one thinking that Kane just like tried to seclude himself in the castle from like the eyes of all of his peers? Yeah, he didn't have to stay there. He could just live somewhere nicer.
Yeah, I guess the thing with... I guess a lot of people think that the bigger the house, the better it is. But there's this downfall of it being so empty also, with only so few people.
Yeah, he can't fill it with people. He fills it with freaking statues.
Now one thing that I also gotta say about some of these friends he have, or persons he knew. Not all. I know that this is analysis of Charles Foster Kane, but not all of the people that he knew seemed like they were that great of guys and girls
no,
either.
they weren't. I mean, Sophia was, let's not say, like, she was quite a victim. But at the same time, like...
She... it didn't seem like...
She, like...
It seemed like either while...
Maybe...
Whatever you do, you won't really satisfy here, it felt kind of like.
Exactly. Like, of course, she went through hell. But at the same time, like, as you said, she never felt satisfied. And, she was in a loveless marriage. Legard felt so wronged by Kane that... I don't know, he was just so bitter about being his friend when he was recalling their relationship at the foster care home that he was in.
Yeah.
Like, he never forgave him. They never could reconnect afterwards.
No, that's something about I'm not entirely sure how his friend viewed, or I know how the friend viewed him, but I'm not exactly sure when it started. Because it was said that they were like old friends, and he took him to his news corporation and everything, but you could see quite early that his friend kind of saw the illusion of what Kane was.
Yeah. Like, he saw the surface. Because he was, like, ambitious, headstrong, and yada yada. But when, like...
Not that I feel like his friend was the greatest man either, but...
I don't think so. They couldn't hash it out. It was just a fight that just separated them like that.
There was one scene that I found a bit interesting when he was supposed to be crowned governor, and his friend is really clapping and clapping, and then the news about him and his lovers comes out, and he gets in there drunk and tells Kane everything that he really thinks of him. And that kind of just... I felt like that changed a bit quickly from him going really applauding him to...
You know what? I actually thought about it too. But I have a theory. Because I think now I connected what I wanted to say. I feel like Legard had a... he thought of Kane as someone... Like, he had a hope that Kane would be this guy who would keep his morals about him. And he would not waste his chance to give people their rights and then yada yada. But I think Legard also secretly thought that Kane wasn't above that. Like, he would essentially become this rich old asshole who ruins everything for everyone. So when Kane blew his shot of being the governor by the accident, he didn't think, oh, what the fuck happened? I should talk to my friend. He thought, fuck, I was wrong about Kane. He's just like all the other bigwigs who came from being rich.
Yeah. I guess Kane views himself differently also from all these other rich people.
Yeah.
He sees himself more as a people of the lower kinds, almost helper in life.
Yeah. And it's not true. That guy studied at Harvard. I want to say, I know I spoke before about the, like, just as I said, I loved the story. It was efficient when things needed to be quick, and for us to understand, it was quick and we understood. The newspaper at the beginning, the relationship between his first wife and Kane, it was very fast, but you got the gist of it, and you got the relationship very quickly. When the story needed to slow down, for example, when the news about the mistress, quotation marks, came out, that was kind of slow. I was worried, like, how will they react? We know that, like, I love the foreshadowing because we know that there will be a scandal. It's coming.
Yeah.
But in what way? How will it resolve?
It's interesting because they literally tells everything about his life in the newsreel. So it's kind of like, you know, everything that's about to happen. It's more how it affects the characters when it happens.
So I love it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Do you have something more in your 1.5 size notes?
I didn't even take it out. Listeners, I'm eating a salta pinar, which is not very professional for me because it's crunchy. And I have 1.5 pages of stuff on me that I haven't even checked out.
Do you like taking notes for preparation of these film episodes?
I do. I always did.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Mr. Leland, not Mr. Leda.
Ah.
I wrote, Mr. Leland, my yaoi senses are tingling.
Why?
I mean, Mr. Leland, I don't think we've ever heard about a wife.
No, I guess his private life was never really discussed.
So I was thinking maybe he had like a little crush.
He was like the actor that played Mr. Leland. He was named Joseph Cotten, and he was the only one, aside from Orson Welles, that kind of had a big career after this film.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was in some what's the guy's name now? The one that made Psycho. Oh, now I remember. Alfred Hitchcock.
Ah, okay.
And some other big films. That was the best friend of Kane, right?
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes I am a little bit foggy with film names.
I wanted to also talk. I have two notes that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So the Xanadu Castle.
Yeah.
Jesus, I like in the beginning. It's shown how it's very extensive. Lots of gardens. It's open. It's big. There's so many sights to see. And once we get to the life of Kane, they're stuck indoors like prisoners.
Yeah, there's a scene where his butler is taking him in this wheelchair, and it just doesn't seem like that great of a time.
No, it seems awful. I also wrote that. Pum pum pum.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, how Kane graciously lets Sophia stop singing. Jesus. And how this story reminds me so much of. Have you read Lady of Camellias?
No. How old is this book?
It's 1950s, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's written by a Russian author, but basically, this is a story about a man who. He is in London. No, he's in Paris. And Paris is like a big socialite city.
Yeah.
What happens is that he's a... I don't think he's a newspaper writer. But he's just like a nosy bitch. He wrote a book about it.
Oh, okay.
And he goes to social events and he ends up at a death auction. Like a very highly appraised courtesan died. She was known as Lady of Camellias. And he sees all the other big shots of Paris at this event. They're all inquisitive about their house, how it looks like, what kind of stuff there is, because everyone wanted to get on with her. And he doesn't have a lot of money, but he buys a book.
Yeah.
This book she received from her lover.
Yeah.
Armand, his name, and Armand is looking for this book. He finds the author, the main character, and they begin to tell the story of this lady's life after her death, kind of like what happens in this movie. And it's also a tragedy. It's we learn from the beginning what happens, but like, I mean, Armand is also a big asshole because he can just not let this lady be for the love of him. It's very similar. It's just like this story of very big highs and then slow downfall, just like Kane.
Yeah.
And I just like the similarities.
Yeah.
Like both Kane and Lady of Camellias, they were such big people with big hearts, but because of the mistakes they did and their tough characters, like Lady of Camellias, she really liked partying, she liked drinking, she liked social life. She couldn't let that go. Well, she kind of did, but in the end, it's what killed her. And Armand pushed her to it, kind of.
Yeah.
So I just like the similarities between the two works.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's kind of an unique way to tell a story, actually. It's because usually you would maybe think that this one would go from one point forward, but the story is kind of told in, it mixes the story in different perspective of each character and the timelines of that.
Yeah, and each storyteller has kind of their own perspective about Kane.
But two scenes that actually, or some scenes that actually stood out to me, and they all come kind of at the end. The first one is when his second wife is leaving him, and you just see this face that Kane of him feeling like he has lost everything. It's a man that wants to be loved by everyone, but no one loves him, and you just kind of feel, you actually kind of feel sorry for him there.
Yeah. Hell yeah, you're right. I love that scene as well.
And I also find the ending quite interesting, and also this last quote, because as I said, the story is told by this newspaper that's trying to find the word rosebud and what that means. But he never really finds out, and the conclusion he eventually gets is, no, I don't think so. Mr. Kane was a man who got everything he wanted and lost it. Maybe Rosebud was something he couldn't get, or something he lost. Or actually, I think it was more this. I don't think there's one word that can describe a man's life.
Exactly. So, connecting to what we said in the beginning, what is Rosebud? We kind of came back to the same question.
Yeah, but it still gets revealed what Rosebud is, and
what is Rosebud? Should we spoil?
Actually, when I watch films, I sometimes don't really try to think about the mystery too much about it. Think if it's not really that involved in it, but I gotta say I didn't really know what Rosebud exactly was until it was revealed what is what, but that kind of was a turning point for me of, that it's like the only real time where Kane was happy, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm a little bit different. If there's a mystery, I mentally make notes. I try to figure out. I try to think like, how could this all be connected? And I figure it out only after all the other options have been crossed off.
Okay.
As I said in the beginning, it was between, I think, after the scene when his wife left him, and when they begin to just go through the mountains of his stuff, it clicked for me that it must be because I kept remembering the scene. When will they bring back his sled from the beginning? It's been shown for a second, but they left a sled when he had to leave this sled at his home when he left, and then he received a sled when he came to live with the banker. But I couldn't for the life of me.
Did you notice that? I didn't even notice that.
I noticed that, but I couldn't for the life remember me if it had a name written on it.
No, because I don't think the name of it is viewed. I actually tried to look for that the second time I viewed it, but I couldn't see a name.
So I was like, that could be it. And then I was confirmed. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, the ending scene of this film. We have already said spoilers, but the what Rosebud is that it's the name of his sled when he was a kid and played in the snow, and he wasn't this rich man with potential. He was just a happy kid that loved his mother, you can say.
Yeah, maybe his father, but probably not. He had him.
Well, the thing that the best friend said at the end is, or in one of his interviews, is that Charles Foster Kane only really loved himself or the idea of Charles Foster Kane and maybe his mother. So, that was Citizen Kane. Do you think that this is the world's best film ever made?
I don't think I'm qualified to say.
Well, the thing that I also talked a bit about you before is that I don't think this is anyone's favorite film, but if you think of it in a critical perspective or in a critical way of, then this probably ranks up pretty high if you just think about it critically and how well told the story is and the cinematography and
you got it correct.
Yeah, I try to think there a bit actually, and just how the story is viewed and how it is a story about. I guess this can speak to a lot of different people in different ways, because it is about a person that wants to be loved, but he doesn't get the love, and maybe that is something that really speaks to people also.
Yeah, I think everyone can find themselves sympathizing in that front with Kane.
Well, I gotta say that it was an interesting watch, even if, yeah.
But as I said, I forgot that it was black and white. Like, I remember distinctly, but I don't know, when I seen this, I think when I remember it in my mind, when we get the interview with Sophia after she's done telling everyone, like, the story, or when there's the confrontation about the cheating allegations, I don't know, I just didn't notice it was in black and white. I just, like, I was so in the moment.
You were so into the story that
I guess I imagined the colors.
Well, actually, that is a notice of a really good film, then.
It is.
Well, we can well say it like this. We both enjoyed our watch of Citizen Kane. It probably isn't our favorite film, but it was a very interesting and fulfilling watch, I guess.
Yes, it was. As always, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Media Mobile Podcast. You can follow us on... God, I don't even use X anymore.
Yeah, I don't think you can follow us anymore. Like, we are ending quite this podcast soon.
Spoilers. But yes, we're kind of in a phase where we kind of want to wind
Well,
down.
we're going to talk about this in one of the other episodes more.
But if you want to, you can follow us on Tumblr, on YouTube. And that's pretty much it.
Thanks to Jahzzar for our intro and outro comedy.
And we hope that you tune in next week.
Yeah.
And for the next episode. Goodbye.